Well, didn't Wyaralong Dam turn it on for day 2 of the Valleyhill Bass Electric Australian Open on Queensland's newest big bass factory? Jake Schwerin won the event with 2 limits over 7 kilos apiece. Let's hear how he did it.
So today I picked up the crankbait straight away. I got one bite and it just wasn't happening. So I just think that they dropped down and they weren't as comfortable to come up to a lure. So I had to sink down. This is a smacko in a 1/2 ounce. So it's similar to a spinnerbait, but it's not really a spinnerbait. It tends to stay way down in the water column for a lot longer and you can work it really slow. And today a lot of my fish were getting drawn right out of the snag before they'd actually committed. They might hit it 2 or 3 times, but they only committed to it out near the boat. And it was definitely a complete opposite bite to yesterday. So it was good to figure that out.
Jake caught nearly all of his fish in deep water around standing trees and he needed the right tackle to do it. This is what he used.
The Edge Black Widow 703. It's probably the most versatile rod. I've said it 2 or 3 times this year. Probably the most versatile bass rod in their range for spin. 7 foot, 8 to 10 pound. Recoil guides, carbon handle. This thing you can use all day. It's light as. Got the Steez 2508, just a sort of semi-smallish reel, I suppose. And the Torre braid, the F4 Nage in 0.8 size, and the Power Game 12-pound leader. That stuff is unbelievable in abrasion resistance. A lot of people were using 2020. I was using 8-pound 12 leader, and I only lost 1 fish, and I was fishing in the snag. So that says a lot about that braid. It's pretty good stuff. I run it on everything now. So number 4.
And Jake runs us through his new, old Bass Electric boat.
I bought it at the start of the year for $2,000, so it's and just swapped my stuff over from a bass boat. And you don't need a lot of money to get into it. You know, there's guys running around in canoes, 3-foot punts. You do 3 or 4k an hour. That's going to be enough to get anywhere in these electric comps. The batteries is probably the dearest part to get you there and back. But and great for guys to get into. All the guys here are really great to get along with. They're a great bunch of blokes and it's awesomely run. Joey's done a great job this year with the rest of the rounds and Valleyhill for sponsoring. Number 5.
Woohoo! Yeehaw! And finally, what does our winner recommend if you were to take just one lure to Wyaralong?
Think a spinnerbait because you can sort of work it. It's not as snaggy as most other lures. You can work it right up the top to, that 20-30 foot if you really need to. It's just a really versatile lure. It's not as subtle as a rattling lure, so I think it sort of calms the fish down a bit. They might bite a bit longer, but definitely a spinnerbait, yeah.
Well, nobody could accuse Valleyhill's Charles West of not living the Bass Electric dream. He's got the look, he's got the boat, and on day 1 he had over 8 kilos of fish. On day 2, however, those big fish deserted him. Still, he brought in a limit and finished in 3rd place.
And then, because what my plan was, because I did a milk run on Friday. So I come here first, got some, and then I seen no one was coming up here. So I stopped there early because I got a good fish off those trees. And went, yeah, sweet. And then to come here and fill a bag and I've gone, that's awesome. Come on. We can do this, Kempy.
You can do it, brother.
You can do this, mate.
You know what you got to do.
I don't know, this second day stuff's not doing good for me, mate.
Oh, I know.
Feel a bit better. I've got 2.
And Westy was also on board with ABT's motto, who shares wins. He let everybody know that you needed to be throwing a Valleyhill LV500 lipless crankbait with a hook pointing up, single hook, so that it'd crawl right through the snags. And you got hookups just like that. With the amount of time that Adrian Wilson spends at Wyaralong, it was a bit of a no-brainer that he was going to end up in the top 5, averaging over 1.2 kilos of fish. He caught plenty of fish over the 2 days and weighed 2 consistent bags. And you guessed it, he was fishing that Valleyhill Lipless crankbait as well.
Not a big fish, but it's a start. Number 1. Hook's just pulled. A hook just pulled. Oh, man. How's that? Number 2. Oh, mate, I'd be stoked if I did, eh? Number 3.
Now, we all remember Joey Urquhart's antics when he caught his cracking bag on day 1, and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch the highlights. Day 2, however, was a little bit different for Joey. Watch him lose and catch some fish here. And after a frustrating morning not being able to put together a limit, Joey put it all together at the end, doing some stunt fishing with ice jigs right in the trees. And if you thought that last capture was in tight country, check this action out.
How I landed over?
And let's face it, I didn't set the world on fire at Wyaralong, but I finally caught one of these big bass that Wyaralong's famous for.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
There he is. That's a bigger fish. Get out of there. That's a proper bite. Get out of any of those trees. No, you haven't got a net either. That's right. Look how fat he is. Come here, mate. Wish I had a heavier rod, I could just pole him. Oh, that hook's not in real good. Come here, mate. Nice. Finally, a decent one out of this joint. Wyaralong Dam special. And there is plenty of coverage from the first ever Valleyhill Bass Electric Australian Open. Visit us on www.abt.org.au for all of the links.